Last week on Pokemon Cooked League, the Jake Gambit set up Exodia with their weakness policy Garchomp against the classy core Claydolls, while the destructed Dragapults cleaned up the ShamWow Slow Kings with their mascot. The Jake Gambit secured their player spot with a win, but he has a boss battle ahead of him. Can he pull it off? Welcome to the second match of the final week of the regular season. We have the Jake Gambits versus the destructive Dragapults. And first thing I want to bring out is the Wheezing here. Wheezing can turn off. It can either have its own terrain if you wanted to, or it can just have a neutralizing gas to cancel, just to cancel out the opponent's terrain, so you don't have to fight the terrain war at all. There's benefits and costs to both. You know, if you turn off your ability, you have a decent amount of good other abilities that you probably don't want to turn off, like intimidate, magic bounce, and it's like supreme overload, like technician. These are all like really good abilities, while the other side like doesn't have abilities that are nearly as good. Like competitive on Milotic can be really scary, and things like Flame Body can be annoying, but they're like inconsistent abilities at best. And then like things like Smeargle and like isn't that important, or neither is Dragapults or Corviknight's abilities for the most part. Mirror Armors can be nice. But yeah, so that's a pretty big decision you have to make. And on the other side, let's see. I think the what's that one? My first instinct is the Milotic. The Milotic can is competitive for the Intimidate, which can be which can backfire really quickly. And if abilities are still like active. Another good thing about Misty Terrain that I should bring up is that Misty Terrain, if that is your ability, it stops you from getting Scald Burned by Milotic. So that would be pretty huge. But if you don't have the terrain set up, then like Scald can be really annoying for things like the Garchomp, the Scizor, and the King Gambit. And those are mons that are kind of struggle to hit Milotic that hard to begin with. But yeah, for leads, I think you can't really afford to lead Incineroar. I imagine you're not leading King Gambit as well, just because it's usually a mon you want to have in the back for Supreme Overload. Like, I don't know, maybe like you want to start to getting Trick Room up early against, because you know the other team is generally a lot faster than you. And thing with Hat is you can get up Trick Room very safely because you have Magic Bounce, and then you can like have like a slower threat just out there. Maybe you can bring Incineroar just so you can get the Fake out, but man, it is very risky when competitive is an ability here. And the other side, I'll try to find a way to like make Trick Room as inconvenient. Just ways to make sure that Hatterene's life in particular is a problem, because if Hatterene goes down, then Spore becomes a lot more annoying. Because there's no Magic Bounce. And not only that, then the Trick Room can't go up, and then things like your Choice Band Dragapult can like start like putting up like good damage without, and like just abuse the speed control. So let's get this match started. Okay, we have a very passive lead from the destructive Dragapults here. Magmar, Smeargle. I have to imagine the Smeargle is not Voice Scarf this time, just because Hatterene does exist. Does Misty Terrain to stop statuses at all? Wait, it does. Oh, that is so true. Misty Terrain to stop statuses, I think, at all, because I got Misty Terrain Sport and it didn't work. So yeah, that's pretty big here. Not that that's out yet. So I do wonder what the other moves from Smeargle that are going to be run, because I think I've literally only seen Spore and Fake Out. But yeah, this Magmar is in a pretty tough spot here, because since this is Nat Dex, both King Gambit and Incineroar do no knockoff. So like, yeah, getting knocked off obviously is pretty bad here. It's good neutral damage from not weak mons at all, from mons that are at least okay strong to really strong. And then you lose your item here. And the dark type attacks are just kind of hard to switch into. Everything, he hits everything for neutral damage, so it's a very safe click here. So yeah, this is I'd say this is a pretty good lead for the Jit Gambits here. Taking a risk of leading the Incineroar, it is paying off. Because obviously, like I talked about, the competitive for the Milotic can be a huge disaster. And what we see here is the this was a good play here, though. Will-O-Wisp attempting to go into King Gambit, that would have been devastating there. It's a strong, just like if you just lose half your damage output on like your late game cleaner, like that's a big issue there. But wisely going Hatterene here, it does, of course you don't burn it back, but you do prevent yourself from getting burned here, which is always nice. I do wonder something like the if like overheat into the King Gambit was like just a little bit better there, just off the principle of getting damage. Like you can't, there's nothing immune to taking like damage here, and overheat only had one thing that was okay switching. Everything else doesn't like taking an overheat that well. Scissor obviously hates it, not that Scissor would ever switch in here, but like Garchomp would take it okay, but like Weezing and Hat wouldn't take it that well. It would definitely do some good damage here. And now that we have the now that the fake out turns over, I do wonder if the Smeargle even stays in here. It might be the most useful thing to do is just like switch out for now. But once again, just a move knockoff is such a pain in the butt for the Destructive Dragapults here, and I do wonder how they are able to play around it. Okay, and the Trick Room does go up here. The Smeargle does decide to go to spawn the Incineroar, which makes sense here. There's definitely some give and take on that. Like the give being like, the good thing about Sporing Incineroar is that Incineroar almost never runs Protect, so like if the Spore is in that slot, you feel pretty confident in it working. But the take is that Safety Goggles is a fairly common item on Incineroar, especially. And I would assume it will only become more likely if you know your opponent is bringing a Spore Merchant. But yeah, it goes for the gamble. Kind of a gamble, and it pays off here. Trick Room does get up pretty safely, though. But of only having one Mon that's able to attack right now, you do have to try to make use out of this Trick Room. Sooner rather than later, so... You know, you got 4 turns to do something, and you're already kind of like half a turn behind because you have to spend a turn switching if you want to make that slot do something in the future, or just burn off sleep turns. And now the Smeargle, unless it has another trick up its sleeve, this might switch out pretty right now, just because it doesn't have speed control over anything, and it can't Spore anything here. Coil Milotic. I can't say that I expected Coil to be what the buff move of choice here is. I don't know Milotic's physical move pool at all, in order to be honest. I don't even know how much attack versus special attack is. I thought Scald, like the appeal of just trying to fish for Scald burns, was like so good. But we're going for Coil here, and it does make yourself more physically bulky, which is actually more useful than increasing your special defense against this team, you know? Increasing your physical bulk is good for 4 out of the 6 Mons, and increasing your special bulk is only good for, like, maybe 2 of the Mons. And those aren't maybe your primary game. Like, Weezing's not your primary damage dealer. So, this Coil, I do wonder what other moves it's running with this Coil, but this could start to become a problem fast, honestly, if this has the right moves here. Does it get Iron Tail? Because like if it Iron Tails Hat, that could be a big issue. Yeah, this is definitely not what I expected here. Yeah, I expected leftovers. That's fair. And okay, are we okay? So we have Coil and Scald, and parting shotting the Milotic, I don't hate that move, given the information that we just saw Quill, making you think it's physical. But maybe it's some sort of mixed Milotic? And yeah, that parting shot ends up being an absolute disaster, because not only did you give it an increased stage of special attack, you also got your King Gambit burned. And to make things even worse is that a Corviknight just hard switched in, and Corviknight probably running some body press. It's just like this King Gambit is now just become completely awful in just like the turn of a half a second here. And that's another turn of Trick Room down, and I just say that the Destructive Dragapults have been dealing with it a lot better. The hat is still at full, and you still got a couple turns left, but I don't think this hat's in a great spot either, because like if you try to Mystical Fire Corviknight, you're also like, you know, the Mirror Armor stuff happens, so that's not great either. It's not great. Oh, he didn't. What's it called? I'm sorry, he didn't Parting Shot. He Mystical Fired the Milotic. That's my bad. But yeah, I do wonder what the other stuff this Milotic can do here is. And here comes the Mirror Armor. Okay, we do get a knockoff, which does remove leftovers, which is something that's definitely nice. And we are getting another coil here. We're just trying to go for game here. We've seen Coil and Scald. I imagine it has some sort of healing move. Like it has Recover and like maybe one more attack. But like Protect would also be nice here. But yeah, this Corviknight going for Terra Water, expecting the Mystical Fire here. Makes sense. And goes for the Iron Defense. Gets it up pretty safely. And there's nothing that can hit water easily on the other side. So Terra Water is definitely safe here. So like, these mons are getting set up really quickly, and they're still the Corviknight's still really healthy here, and the Milotic probably can just heal itself back up to full. Like this is, this Trick Room has gone very poorly so far, I'd say. Dazzling Gleam, that both mons eat that fairly well. And we got another Scald burn here. I'm deciding to double the Hatterene. I think that makes a lot of sense here. The King Gambit's already been burned. Its Dark type moves are probably only Knockoff and Sucker Punch. So like, you know, its Dark Stab is like very dubious. Like in like how much because you know both items are now gone knocked off. So like Knockoff isn't hitting hard. It's burned, and its other stab being Steel, which gets resisted by both these monsters. King Gambit is not really much of a threat here, and it's just kind of becoming dead weight. And the Trick Room is going to end here, and it looks like I expect like a double KO or like just something, or like a heal and like a KO here. And this is why I can't say this is the set I expected from Milotic, but yeah, this Milotic's putting in a lot of work here. It's going to be a KO, and this is going to be a body. Oh, we're going to Roost here, get even greedier with it. And we do get a punish with the Sword Stance here. But the question is just like, how much is that going to actually help here? It is a good call. It is a risky call here, and you're behind, so you have to make risks. But man, like the body press into the King Gambit still just blows you up here. And you are taking a little bit of chip every turn, so like you are on some sort of a timer eventually. And like, what even does this side even the Jake Gambits even have that can even threaten the +2 Corviknight to this one? You only have one more special attacker, being the Weezing. So like maybe that's Weezing does get Will-O-Wisp, so like maybe you can burn it, and like you can also like start to like counter fight status with status here. Again, there's also this Milotic here. And it is going to be Misty. Oh, wait, you can't even... Okay, I was just making sure, like, statuses don't immediately get healed. Like, you can't even... I just realized, if you're Misty Terrain, you can't Will-O-Wisp. So there goes that idea. Um, and the wheezing is also being, it's gonna take okay damage from Ironhead. It's not gonna be too much damage. Wheezing is still very bulky. But there's still the Milotic that can probably threaten it more. I just want to see what these other two moves are, just because we see Coil Scald. Like, I can't imagine we're using Coil just to increase for like half of Iron defense. It doesn't seem worth it here. And yeah, the body press just goes directly into the King Gambit. Decides that he wants to keep the Dragapults. Decide to try to keep the Milotic safe here. Makes sense. If the King Gambit sucker punches the Corviknight, you're completely fine with that. So I think this is a very safe play, and it does pan out here. Let's see, the Milotic did protect, so that means it is a mon you can target next turn. But how easy is it even to target with all this defense boost here? Again, you only have like one potential one mon that's probably only one special attacker left. So this is looking really bad here. Like, how do you like stop this honestly just attacking the mon that's in front of you, like body pressing and scalding, or like maybe this Milotic has Ice Beam or something. But like, again, it's like, I don't know if you can beat that. And like, even if these mons go down, you still have like the banded Dragapult in the back to kind of just clean up things. I don't very up. Okay, we do, and to make things even worse, the Strange Team does miss here, and that's Tapu Lele is not that bulky, so like it has okay bulk. So, like, that would have been some pretty decent damage there. And deciding to switch to Milotic out is, like, with all those stat stages, is not what I expected, but just deciding I don't want this to deal with this terrain, and the obviously the Tapu Lele is just in a good spot offensively here. You know, being able to threaten to Oko whatever of these two. Well, maybe not Oko the Wheezing because of the special defense boost, but I wouldn't even be surprised if you could Oko with a Psychic, or you can like Moonblast a Garchomp. So either way, this Tapu Lele is in such a threatening position physically. And like, again, you got another Corviknight Iron defense up, so like a body press is just gonna do so much damage to the Garchomp. So like Psychic plus body press just seems like super safe here since you're so far ahead. Psychic does KO. I'm not sure a crit mattered. Tapu Lele is such a strong mon that might not have. It's not Life Orb, so maybe it did matter. Maybe it's except it's like Specs or something. Well, oh no, it's not Specs. It's definitely a Scarf here because it went before Garchomp, and I can only imagine you're making Garchomp faster than Lele here. We do get a flinch though, so that's the start of something. And I forgot the Incineroar's asleep here, and you're gonna need a lot. You're gonna need a crit or more flinches here to, I say, to even get out of this. Because again, how do you ever killing this Corviknight, man? And you're intimidating yourself here. It's bad. Oh, we're really just going for as many flinches as possible with the Rock Slide. Put the Rock Slide, Terra Rock Slide. But yeah, it's just left with the Scizor in the back. And this is, I can't see how the Jake Gambits come back from this, especially with the Magmar to take out the Scizor and the, 10 million more flinches, I guess. And we didn't get a flinch, so yeah, this is gonna be over here. Dueling beat. We did get a crit, and crit only did 24. So yeah. So that is a pretty big loss for the Jake Gambits here. They now have to now their playoff spot is definitely in jeopardy here. A win guaranteed their spot. This win doesn't mean anything for the they had the 2 seed anyway since I won my match, so didn't end up mattering for them. But congrats to the Destructive Dragapults for a convincing 6-0. And yeah, that's gonna do it for me. I'll see you soon. Bye.